You're awake. Fancy seeing you here. I hoped our next meetup wouldn't quite go down like this. But I am glad that we can talk again, at least. I wish I could let you go, but they'd kill you first and then me. You're not going to be able to get the ropes off, so calm down, please. I'm not here to hurt you. Hard to believe, I know. You're tied up in this old dusty basement, completely at our mercy. This screams for someone to torture information out of you. And maybe someone will. It depends on whether the boss is in a good mood today. He dislikes you very much, It's not very reassuring, is it? But I promise, I'm not here to do that. I mean, you can see it for yourself. I'm unarmed. This might be the last time I can have a genuine conversation with you. And I think we really, really need to talk. Look, you might have nothing to say to me, but I have so much to say to you, and so much I'd like for you to hear. It's been so long. I wish we could talk like we did back in the day. How many years has it been since we've last done that? 5? 6? Honestly, it was like a different reality. You remember, right? I'd complain of being cold all the time, even in summer, so you always offered to buy me hot chocolate. You never questioned why I didn't buy one for myself, or why I always met you in the same worn-out hoodie and wearing the same worn-out shoes. Instead, we just sat in a coffee shop and rambled about life. Yeah, I'd be surprised if you didn't remember it. You have always had a good memory. I once mentioned offhandedly how I never had money to spare to buy a book, and then on my birthday, many months later, you gifted me more books than I could stack on my shelves. I still have them all, by the way, right alongside the many teddy bears you sent my way. People at the orphanage used to call them embarrassing, saying I was too old for them, but they made me really happy. You were always so kind to me, so optimistic. The look in your eyes is different now. It hurts. I know this is nothing like back then. You're trapped in an underground base and you see me as nothing more than one of your captors. But just this once, I want to talk to you again. If not as a friend, then as a stranger you don't hate. Please. I miss how we were back then. Just a bit. I kept track of every little thing you gave me, from the hand-me-downs to the shiny new things. Even when you moved on from high school to university and racked up all your student debt, you still found time and money to come visit me in my first filthy apartment. When you couldn't, you'd text me, ask me about my day, talk about yours. I mean, you radiated so much warmth it was hard to not be drawn to you. You gave me so much, even when I couldn't afford to give anything back. You've always been my son, you know? And I tried to be better for you because no one believed in me. Finding a job with no qualifications was hard. And when I did, I had to work myself to death, all just to be able to live paycheck to paycheck. My reason to keep going was to see the day where I'd finally be able to give you back everything you've always given me. But, well, it all kind of went downhill once I got laid off. I ended up on the streets, now an adult. I mean, I was honestly ashamed of myself. You were so smart and successful, and here I am. I can't even hold down a stable job, you know. The only way for me to make any money was to turn to crime, so I did. I mean, it started off small. I started working for someone who wanted me to pickpocket random people in busy town centers. It was easy enough, you know, accidentally bump into them and grab anything sticking out of their jacket or purse. No one even looked me in the face, and I didn't have to deal with knowing their reaction once they found out their belongings were missing. It was honestly great. You know, I started feeling like I had a natural aptitude for it. And I guess my employer did too. He gave me a room to live in. And I moved on to doing more dangerous endeavors. You remember the first gift I bought you? The cat-shaped lamp. Yeah, it's all commission money. Anything I could save up after food, clothes, and hygiene stuff went to buying little things for you. Eventually, he wanted me to steal from the largest crime group in the city. I didn't really watch the news, so I didn't know what was so dangerous about them. I mean, they seemed just like me, a bunch of petty thieves. Except they had banded together to form a gang. All I had to do was grab a suitcase in an alleyway and leave before I got caught. What I wasn't told was that that group was rather ruthless, to put it shortly, deadly. Anything they wanted, they really, really wanted for themselves, to the point where they'd kill anyone if it meant getting it. It was the first time I feared for my life. My only semblance of fighting skills were from my orphanage days, so of course I never stood a chance. I fled back to my employer, bleeding and empty-handed. You know what that bastard did? He called me useless, and he kicked me out, sent me back to the streets. Yeah. Well, it was at that point in time where I started avoiding meeting with you, insisting that we only text. I didn't want to admit that my only source of income had been crime, and that now I was poor again. Most importantly, though, I didn't want you to see me at the lowest point in my life. You didn't need me to stress you out any more than uni already did. you know? I didn't think it could get any worse than before, but it did. While you worked your ass off to graduate, I started hopping from shelter to shelter, throwing money away on gifts, just so you wouldn't suspect I was homeless again. It went on for a few weeks, and that was when he approached me. Boss. The boss of the crime group that had nearly beaten me to death. Apparently, he had been spying on me, watching me survive on scraps. Something about the way I'd fought off his underlings inspired him, he said. But I'm sure he just saw me as someone easy to manipulate and had nowhere else to go. So, he offered me a job. This job. We had nearly lost all forms of contact. You graduated and came back to this city to work. In law enforcement, of all things. The day I saw your face in one of the briefs I had, I nearly spat out my drink. You were working so closely with the police to try and arrest us all. I mean, me, right? I couldn't keep in touch with you. If Boss came to find out I had any affiliations with you, we'd both be dead. So, I tried to keep tabs on you, but at a distance. Eventually not replying to your messages anymore. And the next time I saw you was when I shot a police officer dead. And unbeknownst to me, you were there to see it. The heaviness of taking people's lives hadn't really hit me until I saw you. Saw your eyes widen in horror. The look of disgust you gave me. It had just become routine, People's lives were always worth less than what they owned. You saw worth in people's life when no one else would. Hell, that was what you did with me. It's why you chose this profession, isn't it? To protect people. I knew immediately you'd hate me for joining an organization that was, quite frankly, against everything you stand for. Frankly, after that, you became the biggest thorn in our side. Every time one of ours got captured or arrested, you were the one behind it. So, Boss really started hating you. I've never hated you, though. Every time I think of you, I think of that little ray of sunshine that gave me a reason to live and to be better. That day, I realized that I killed something else, too. Any and all hopes of you seeing me as a person again. And it crushed me. You had given me everything. And what had I given you? Murder. I realized that an existence without you was basically unlivable. I couldn't sleep, eat, or drink. I kept thinking to myself, did you think I was insane? Did you want to see me dead? Over and over again, cried myself to sleep. I realized, thinking about you hating me, I was miserable. I realized that I fell for you. I fell for you when we first met, and you asked me for my name before asking me why I look so dirty. I fell for you when you had no qualms joking with me, where other people walked on eggshells in case I was too sensitive. I fell for you when I realized I was living for the day I'd make you proud. But now that day will never come, and I have nobody to blame but myself. But I made a decision. If I can't live to see you be happy with where I am in life, I will live to protect you. If it were anyone else down here, you'd be a goner already. Boss wants you dead. The plan to capture you was one of the most complicated yet, and any and all iterations of it ended with your brains being shot out onto the sidewalk. I don't think I've ever worked as hard to undermine something in secret. I knew that if he realized, he'd kill me. And while that didn't bother me, I knew that if I died, then you'd inevitably be next. But there is only so much one person can do, you know? So I came up with an alternative to spare your life. I know, this is a lot, but please just look at me. I'm sure you can only imagine where this is going. Listen, I'm not asking you to love me or even to like me at all. What I want is for you to keep living and spreading your sunshine to the rest of the world. You can only do that if you're not dead. And there is only one way you'll escape out of this alive. Will you join us? I expected that. We've been apart for a while, but you haven't changed one bit. You're kind and smart and sweet and only want the best for everyone, even if it means your demise. So, you'd rather die than join us. And I'd rather die than see you die. But if you don't join us, you'll die. That's why I can't let you make this decision. You've probably been feeling more and more drowsy by the minute. And I've been speaking to you for a while, so it should be starting to take effect by now. You know, I had to bargain with Boss a lot to even let me try and do this. I had to research all the drugs and all the technologies to see if it was even possible. It took a while, but eventually he came to trust me with it. I drugged you. It won't be enough on its own, but I'll use all the brainwashing and mind control techniques possible to make sure you want to stay, that you want to join us. Maybe part of the reason I'm doing this is that I'm selfish and really want you to stay with me a little longer. I'm sorry for hurting you more, I really am, but my hope is that someday you'll find a way to break free. And You'll use everything you'll learn here firsthand to arrest us all. That day, they'll probably kill me for letting it happen, but as long as I've managed to preserve your shine, it'll all be worth it. Today, I just wanted to let you know that I love you, and I will never stop loving you. And I promise I'll take care of you for the rest of my existence. Now, look into my eyes. The drug is making you tired, so you won't be able to struggle. Don't try to resist it. Listen to me and to the sound of my voice. Look into my eyes and let me hypnotize you. I am going to put you into a trance. You're going to feel very calm and peaceful. It's a compelling idea to feel docile, to feel compliant, to feel mesmerized, feeling mindless and tranquil, calm, serene, relaxed, making you feel so comfortable. So get comfortable and let me pull you down. Remember that I love you, okay? 3, 2,